What does it mean to live under the threat of war for over 60 years, where every move you make comes under strict regimentation, and then suddenly you have to change, to welcome a different way of life? What would this change look like? My name is Chris Stowers. I'm a photographer. Photography, to me, is like a passport to travel and peek into other people's lives. 25 years ago, this passport brought me to the Matsu Islands, northwest of the Taiwanese mainland, and a former frontline base between China and Taiwan. Now, I'm returning to see how the place has transformed since then. Situated 160 kilometers northwest of Taiwan, the Matsu archipelago lies barely 10 nautical miles from the shores of China, making it a potential flashpoint between both sides since the end of the Chinese Civil War in 1949. As a result, the islands became military strongholds, with its inhabitants living under martial law for decades. By 1997, however, Matsu was beginning to open up. I was here as part of the first artist residency on the islands, a strange phenomenon when military drills were still more of the norm. 25 years later, to say things have changed is an understatement. Especially at Bagan, one of the main islands in the archipelago.
Well, this looks familiar. This building, it was a ruin last 25 years ago. Pretty sure this is one where I was taking photos inside here. So, slightly different angle. That's the same staircase coming down here. 5 steps up, turn corner, go up, and there's that window. 25 years later on, still here.
Up the stairway, I find faces similar to those I once met on the island, though there are signs that times have changed.
Are you guys soldiers?
Yes.
All right. How long have you been here?
About a week.
A week? Oh,
Not too bad.
like 2 years or something. Yeah. You're lucky.
Yeah.
My bed in this village 25 years ago was a sleeping bag on the floor of a Spartan temple storehouse that came complete with chilly gusts of sea breeze. I wonder if its fate has improved like those of the soldiers I just met.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was the storehouse for the temple. The temples were up there, and so we used to sleep at night time in the storehouse in sleeping bags. And then that 7-Eleven, that's bloody hell. This must have been our base camp, where we had our meals and planned the whole operation. Okay, so they've changed it around a bit. Before this was empty and there was no ceiling, no roof. You could see through to the stars. We'd come through here for our meals, and there was a staircase at the back. Many people come to Qingbi now from Taipei. They come in So this budding musician here, who was only 18 years old, he says his family run the 7-Eleven in Tangchi village near the airport, and this one, and he wants to, his family want to turn it into a restaurant. What is this place? It's a border town. You've got China just over there. It was molded by China being so close. 25 years ago, there was a lot of drilling going on, and it was tangible. You could tell there was a tension in the air. Are you from the island? You're from the?
No, no.
Oh, from Taiwan. Oh, all right.
From Taiwan. And actually, I feel like it's very foreign to me because the culture is very different. It's from the culture is closer to China.
Yeah.
Because the language, the dialect, so the food, like everything is really
The
different.
food as well. Is
Food
it?
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say the spices they use and also like the ingredients. The noodles is actually made from fish. It's not like
Wow.
flour. There's actually a art festival in
Oh, is there?
yeah,
Heaven.
Qi Kandao.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually,
So that's like
I don't-
an old military tunnel.
yeah. So the art is like inside. I think it's like by the ferry. It's only 5 minutes away.
Right. And actually this is on Nangang, this is not here.
I'm not sure.
Is it? Oh,
This is I'm not sure, but
yeah.
like the art inside is really amazing.
How are artists on Matsu expressing themselves today? I hear about someone I should meet on the other main island in the Matsu group.
We're going to Nangang, the largest island of the two main islands of Matsu. So we're going to meet an artist, and last time I was here, I was the artist doing the residency. So it'd be interesting to see how this artist is dealing with the pressure of producing an artwork. Apparently it's in a tunnel or a bunker, a former military installation. So how do you put something beautiful like artwork inside an basically an ugly construction that's made for military purposes? That would be interesting to discover what is done with the space.
I
was reading what this exhibition is all about. Let's see. Seeing that we need to oil the lock of the door here. It's maybe from the military era. But actually, here it's like an iceberg, the tip of the iceberg, right? Everything really to see is under the ground. And this is the top. Oh, new set of keys. That looks more like a key.
是马祖当地出生的。我留学西班牙10年，那10年回来，又碰到我们这个军事据点这个转移。我们现在下去了。好。这个门它是从这边往底下有个阶梯底下就是通道
into the bowels of the earth.
下来从这个
所以我们这样子。
这个是消音。
There is a certain poetry in converting bunkers of war into space for art. What I find even more fascinating is that this labyrinth feels like an inner reflection of Mr. Chow's life, where what he is trying to express goes much deeper than what is visible on the surface. From time to time, this path meanders to moments that also bring up memories of his past on Matsu. Yet, even after spending years away, Chow does not want to simply indulge in these memories. He is still digging deeper into what they mean.
So this is the work in progress. Are you digging?
我就用 用这个
Oh, this is
然后一直挖
You're
挖到
digging
外
in,
面。
excavating.
那挖这个就是以前体验那个军人在防守这个地方的时候的一个构工。
And Matsu, do they feel sort of like we're different from the rest of Taiwan because we're so close to China?
一定不同啊，因为台湾没有戒严，我们马祖戒严，马祖戒严就军人管，军管所有的物资管控，出去有签证，所以这个基本上在人权上是不一样的，不能去海边，不能干嘛，什么不能做，不能摄影，不能采不能收音机，不能有助辅器材，所谓助辅器材就是浮漂、篮球。 不能有。
Meeting Qiao Laoshi, my personal impression may be that he misses the importance that Matsu once had, even though it was a restricted place, and coming from here made you something special.
So maybe there's a sense of loss of place in the world, like that.
说有嘛，好像没有；说没有嘛，它还有缓冲一点。其实。 我们马祖很多的原乡就在对面。我们刚去看大陆的时候，我们一看哇，好落后。那回头过来，觉得自己还像个人一样啊。再过几年之后，大陆一看，完了，人家就直接上来了。我们呢，怎么看都看不习惯。你城市不如他城市，你乡村的建设也不如他，但是。 基本上跟我们台湾的这个体制是不一样，不希望我们用这一套来生活。
As Qiao continues to interpret his memories of growing up on the islands, the military regimentation that once defined life here has changed. For one, I'm now photographing a camp that was once strictly out of bounds. Secondly, there were only either soldiers, old people, or toddlers the last time I was here. Today, the old bunkers still stand, but it seems that there are a lot more young people doing more than just carrying guns.
What is this?
This is
It's a horse.
It's the head.
The head of the horse,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right. I was thinking, what's happened to the rest of the horse?
When I first came here, there were a few kids, but they were very young. It would be nice to know if some of them still lived here, because now is the right time they could possibly make a living from having Matsu as their heritage, with the whole of Taiwan seemingly wanting to come and look at Matsu, now would be the right time for someone in their 30s to actually be here. And I'm told of a young chap who wants to go beyond just opening cafes or art spaces. Someone who wants to focus on the island's heritage.
Actually, here, this is a historical building. Well, we try to mimic the old days in the classroom. Usually in our Taiwanese classroom, typical classroom, we always have our founding fathers' portrait.
Of the Republic of China.
Yes. At first, we don't know that here was a classroom. I would say that this is a gun, so which means that they are at least a second history layer. For the first, it was a school. Later, we found that actually the school, when the school was abandoned, it turned into the office of the village head.
Right.
Yes. So, in old days, actually, the head of the village was always made by the military person. So they will see that the slogans, which mean I can't.
So
which means that the 效忠领袖, which is obey our leader.
Can you see that?
Yeah, here. 效忠领袖. Right now, because we try to transform the old school into our experimental and multifunctional classroom for our youngsters. So we're trying to do 3 things. First, we think we need to improve our cultural confidence. So you can see over there, we have collected a lot of books about Matsu. The whole story was very interesting because we were trying to dig out of the old paint, and I believe it's me who was at that word or this word. I dig, and there was a little bit corner of it. This looks like a character, so I even dig more, and the corresponding place that everybody found something interesting. So I just stopped to tell them that. So everybody right now, please pay attention. Maybe we are finding some new discovery. So yeah, so here we are.
Well, you were like archaeologists.
No. It was because
seriously, you're digging down through history. Very careful not to destroy the exhibits. And
this fall was very common in the Matsu and the Jinmen, because during that time we were in the, actually we were be defined as the war zone, 战地任务. Yes. And here, 4 means manage, teach, nurture, and defend.
So these are more like commandments.
Yes.
Kang, he's kind of a self-appointed cultural ambassador for Matsu. He's from here, but he's not from here. He grew up for a while on Matsu, so he has a connection there. But most of his life he seems to have lived in mainland Taiwan. He's very enthusiastic about his project, the Matsu Youth Development Association. They have a headquarters, one of the more traditional buildings that hasn't been destroyed in that village. There's a lot of construction there, modern construction going up in that particular section of the coastline. Kaiyang, his association, have got a tough job ahead of them because they're fighting to retain the past and deal with the necessities of the future, or the present, actually. So where are we going?
Oh, actually, we are going to underground basement. And actually, before,
oh wow,
it was used for hiding people to avoid them from bombing.
Wow.
Yeah.
What we can find.
When we started to clean this place, it was all. I would just say that it was messy and a lot of grass. Yeah. So we have made a lot of efforts to efforts to clean them out. And actually, these, like for example, lamps, these lamps line, and we are all made it by ourselves. Right now, we are trying to make it use another function, which means that a movie theater under bomb shelter. Why we are doing this is because some of our villagers tell us that when they were young, to see a movie like maybe in the big plaza of the village or something, it is their collective memory.
There is irony about turning a bomb shelter into a cinema hall. Once a tight-knit fishing community, the locals became locked into a huge army camp when the islands became a potential war zone. Now it seems like there is an attempt to bring back customs and rituals that were very much a part of the original way of life. One of the things I remember about my stay here 25 years ago was the taste of army rations provided to us by the soldiers. Apparently the locals ate a lot of them too. I wonder if there have been any attempts to reinterpret the island's culinary heritage.
I've heard about this international quality restaurant that serves cuisine from around the world but using Matsu ingredients. I really want to go there and photograph it. I'd be interested to see how it actually works here. Some fish fillet.
Yeah.
Is that sea bass or?
No, it's like sea pen. Bean?
That's the bream. Bream.
Yeah.
Now, Chef Lee is very interesting. He went to Australia in 2009, a couple of years. He's originally from Matsu. I think it was from the actual village in which his restaurant now is. Curry.
Yeah. We'll make it for tomorrow.
Wow. let it settle overnight.
Yep.
That'd be great. And in fact, that restaurant is the only one serving international food of a certain level.
然后这个是因为我们的餐点是跟海洋有关，所以我们有附这个筷架，然后它是用海玻璃下去做的。对，然后这个餐点的话是我们的开胃菜，我们会用蓉澳就是捕回来的鱼下去做的。
As a photographer, of course, I'm photographing my food before I ever eat it. I'm not so concerned about the taste. I'm British after all, so what do we know about food? As long as it looks good, I'm happy with it.
这个的话是汤品，然后是鱼面澄清汤。这个鱼面的话，它是马祖有特色的餐点，然后上面的话是麦葱，然后旁边的话是石螺的油。这个的话是法式的澄清汤。
And this is a hot roda.
对，热的热。
His food looked really good. It was pretty inventive with, like, for example, risotto. He made a risotto which is an Italian cuisine, but a traditional dish. But he made it using hongju, which is the local red yeast that flavors the Laozhou alcohol. He's used all these local flavors, locally sourced vegetables, eels, which he's dried and preserved in the old-fashioned way. You know, actually even people in the villages around here aren't doing that any longer, but he's keeping that tradition alive. Chef Lee, he loves local ingredients, and one of the key local ingredients here is Laozhou, which is the old wine. So this is kind of like a trip down memory lane for me. When I was here 25 years ago. Yeah, I know, yeah, I look nothing like that now. No hair left. But we were in artist residence in Qingbi village for 9 days. We didn't have any food like this, but we did have quite a lot of Laozhou.
Yeah.
Yours is a lot more sophisticated.
Yeah. I put like a ginger and orange.
I can see the orange there. Is that cinnamon?
Cinnamon, yep.
Clove.
And clove and
Chrysanthemum. Oh,
yeah.
you put that in tea, don't you?
Yes.
With us was one poet who sadly has passed away. Famous poet was poet Luo Yuanfu. And he wrote some poems. One of them was about Laozhou. If you don't mind, I'll drink some of your Laozhou whilst you're reading this to me. I might get into a kind of a sentimental mood.
这样的相逢恬淡如水，恰是刚蒸熟的糯米散发清香，萌芽的介绍，含苞的微笑，好比红曲催化着这段时日的攀谈，深深浅浅，滔滔喃喃，化作糟粕在脑海隐隐发酵，所以必须要妥善打捞。 隔离与沉淀，让酒有时间好好整理自己的味道。
The first time I've ever heard that read out loud, and I've never tasted Laozhou as good as his. So this is his take on local products. The product's there, the ingredients are there, but his international exposure has allowed him to see things in a different way, and he's raising the level.
Beyond cuisine, there are traditions that go deeper than the island's military past. For centuries, the locals have worshipped Matsu, the goddess of the sea, a legendary 11th century shamaness who watches over seafarers and fisherfolk. The custom hails from Fujian province in the south of China, a region that shares common ancestry with the inhabitants here. After decades of separation between the two coastlines, can the younger people of these islands even relate to this shared heritage? it may be up to a woman again to bridge the traditions of both shores.
Be in the middle of the picture?
Yeah.
Okay, and
I will say 各位兄弟大家好 is kind of
go away, like go hello
opening.
everyone or something.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
opening.
yeah.
Okay.
Should I need work or just stay here?
You can do whatever you like. If you want me to follow you, I can follow you.
等呢，前面邊呢啥？各位兄弟大家好，為誰請你？不過美麗為地習慣你喜好啦。
Charming. She's a charming lady. Good name. She's a very energetic young lady who's wanting to basically help to bring awareness to the Mindong language, which is the Fuzhou dialect. She's from Nangang Island originally. She started up a YouTube channel, and this seems to be exploring various aspects of Mindong language and culture.
我今天也是第一次才认识 Chris， 然后我知道他以前有来过这个地方，然后今天很荣幸，就是他可以帮我拍这个东西。
I didn't think I'd be filming today. I'm filming at Chami, and she's meeting a fisherman. One of the few surviving fishermen of this village.
这个我听讲，这个因为我住咧两欧小丽，北间住咧你卡六咧，卡六咧耶，F 咧住咧只要1点0。今天是我跟黄鹏大哥第一次见面，然后我是跟他聊说，就因为在马祖大家都说他是渔民诗人，然后他懂很多，就是关于马祖传统打鱼的事，还有马祖传统的歌，所以我就想向他请教这些事情。你念说，我念说，阿老师，
欧阳古炭爬磨香。
欧阳古炭爬磨香。
对哦，香炉当回香。
Language, which is the Fuzhou dialect, apparently spoken in Matsu and forgotten about everywhere else. A face that's been through 1,000 storms and a good storytelling ability, right? He could have told tales all day. He was actually teaching Charmi and through her audience about some of the songs the fishermen would sing on the boat when they're pulling in the ropes, the chants they would do.
連冷煙當紅，家在奔馳呀，加上早上，早點30點，父母被摸的香。
This is really valuable historical archives that he has in his mind. Without him, it would be lost forever. So she's recording this before it's too late.
水到年齡青梅咗啊，先落大。帶來女兒家基金。
我们现在很多长辈在过去是为了配合小朋友，或者是国家的国语政策，就是他们会变得不太敢讲闽东语。其实像我们刚刚跟黄鹏武大哥聊天，你会发现我们聊着聊着，他会自动切换成华语，就是国语。他们会比较习惯于讲就是被规定的语言。我现在是希望可以回到母语的状态。
She was working in Shanghai until the pandemic hit. Then she came back to Taiwan, got another job there, but didn't forget her Matsu heritage.
做很麻烦，对不对？
对啊，要慢慢挑哎。
Yeah, she throws food away.
很少人做。
So you only started learning Mindong language, which is the language of Fuzhou, right? Or
对，一方面是就是类似自我认同这种，然后另一方面我觉得可能以前对于学语言的这个观念，至少在这里可能会觉得说这个东西有没有用，就是你学闽东语，你学马祖话，不如去学英文，因为以后在你的人生中比较有用。可是我现在不是这样看待，因为我觉得每一个语言背后代表的是一个文化，你想要了解这个文化的话，透过语言你可以更了解这个文化。
What's your message for the wider audience?
因为我当初在做这件事情的时候，其实只是为了自我学习，就是跟我外婆有更多的话题。那在做这个的过程中，因为有别人的反馈，所以我会越来越多去做一些事情。比方说，像今天做鱼面，可能我自己不会去邀约做鱼面这样的事情，但因为今天有这样的机会，让我能认识更多的事情。我觉得，如果大家对于这件事情感兴趣，不管是国外的朋友，或者是台湾的观众，不了解马祖的人，他如果对这个感兴趣，他可能有更想知道的事情，关于渔业或者以前的海洋文化、战地文化。那他看这个影片，然后让我更有动力或者是题材去挖掘更多以前的故事，然后也让这里的人更愿意去谈以前的历史。
OK，
雅好烈，
雅好烈，雅好烈。
You can tell her. 雅好烈。
Okay, 雅好烈。What does that mean, Chris? It means it's delicious.
With life on Matsu dashing into the 21st century, are there other stories that are also in danger of being forgotten? I decide to do my own digging.
We're now in Tien Ao village, which I'd never heard of before. It's a tiny, tiny little place, and it looks like it's gone through some hard times. Many, many dilapidated, broken down old buildings. But there seems to be some restoration work going ahead here, quite a big project actually. No, this is exactly the kind of place that I find really charming and want to come to and visit as a photographer because of the images I can pick up here of the ruins before they get renovated, because this is, this is what it's all about, this is real. And there are many corners and nooks and crannies to poke the camera into, small details, flaking paint on the doorways, you know. You could spend all day here. I like Art Deco, and this has a hint of it. It's just a bit incongruous in this small village of like little huts, stone huts. So you've got a great big concrete structure here. Obviously it's for a purpose, and I can see through here. Great, let's have a look inside. Have a look at this. Yeah, well, you can see the a big slogan written down the side very clearly, and design around the platform, the stage at the front. I guess you could have theatrical appearances as well as cinema in here. So apparently this was used as an entertainment centre for soldiers back in the day, maybe not too long ago actually, because it looks quite well preserved in here. Here there's a photographer, Mr. Chen. He used to take pictures of the troops back in the day, and I want to go and find him. And I'm looking for someone called Mr. Chen. Mr. Chen? Oh, Chen Ivan? Oh, you're a photographer, right? What's your Chris? Oh, okay.
后面还有很多背景，这个要把它移开到这边，那个布景才可以搬得出来。
What's this one? This way? Okay, it probably will go. Oh, he's tied it up really, really nicely here.
这样就可以。
Oh, look at this! The Year of the Tiger as well. Wow.
对。
Beautiful. 很漂亮。
我最想给你们看的就是这个背景。
Oh, it's like a plate.
对，也它可以推来推去，活动的。
Okay. 4.5. That's a pretty good lens, and no mold on this lens here.
在这边拍一拍，那个时候没有，不像现在有手机呀，我随便就可以拍一拍，我马上就走掉了，对不对？观光客都来都看那个，以前不行，以前在这边当兵啊，拿什么武器你都不能够寄回去，这样子，对。 都是用假的。
And turn it around this way. Also large. Say something. Mr. Chen, the photographer. What a character. He's a real an artist, I think, an unfound artist. He used to take photographs when his village, Tian'ao village, was packed with soldiers. They used to come to the cinema opposite his photo studio and have meals there. Then on the way back, they'd go and take their photographs, often to send to their sweethearts and families back on the mainland. And it wasn't a cheap business either. It was $10 to get 6 prints. If I gave you my camera, Ginny, well, I thought I'd have to get him to take a picture of me. Oh, yeah, yeah. Wow, well, you see, you give a guy a camera, he can't stop. I'll get one more when you got the card in. Yeah. He gets wild with the camera. Look at this. Yeah, that's a great shot. All right. We can zoom in here. With my hat. Wow.
他拿他的女朋友的相片，我就可以给他拍在一起。
Combine the two. Look at this, it's a very raffish silk, white silk scarf. Like he's been there as a photographer for 40 years or so. He became a photographer when he was in his 20s. And that's what he did.
这些人可能有的已经都做阿公了。
It brought back memories for him, for sure. His spark came to his eye, and he was talking about his former customers and showing all the pictures that he had of them, and he put a lot of effort into them. In fact, it was really hard work. With the equipment he had, working with wet prints, to do the special effects he did that customers really wanted to have some different special effects. And you could tell the effects changed with the times. 1980s was all quite colourful and snazzy, and the 70s was a bit more formal, portraity, you know.
这个自卫队，女的自卫队，我们以前这个18岁开始，还没结婚以前都要等于自卫队，要拿枪的。那当然吃这一行饭哦，吃久了都有感情了。那个收掉是不得已的，没生意的，慢慢，然后阿兵哥他们回去台湾就比较方便了，哦，他就自动的就没落了。
The lens, yeah.
这个单眼的才有。
Yeah, so he would talk about how back in the heyday of his photo studio, he would get through many rolls of film in 1 week, and later on it was like 1 roll of film in many weeks.
那就马上我们可以再拍一张这样。
Terrible. No, undo. Later I sent to you.
How are others adapting to the changes of the last few decades, especially if they were part of the generation who left the islands in search of greener pastures? Do they even want to come back to a home that is different from the one in their memories?
This is a 窑，小窑，以前跟孩子一起做的。Pizza 也要小小的，放在这里。
Yeah, wow. Is that a homemade one?
这个的话是以前我爸爸传下来的那个货轮里面的一个油箱。
We met Mr. Chow, who has a beautiful old stone house in Dapu village. He's like a local conservation guru in some ways.
这个就是原来的我爸爸、我哥哥跟我们都有参与到一起建造屋子的。你看这些都是山上的石头，有没有？以前有钱人，你看这个，请工匠打成这种平平的石头。
We got a lot of salvaged furniture here and wood.
这个
what's this? It looks like a bed or something.
床铺，以前哥哥结婚的时候做的。哦，你看为什么床铺会那么高呢？放蚊帐。
Yeah, is that a phoenix or something?
以前请木匠要做的话非常困难，要请他来我们家住。啊，他是从那个西局那边下来的。弄给他吃，招待他，所以非常困难。不是做好就拿来，不是在你家做。今年是龙年嘛，龙年的时候有没有什么都龙子？我们以前呢，主要的粮食就是地瓜， 然后这边以前的话就是吃阿兵哥的那个战备米，就是阿兵哥他要打仗嘛，然后他会有储存那个米差不多期限的时候，比如说快到期了，他就要卖给老百姓。葱，野葱，对。这里没有电灯，以前这个是当飞机当就是这个。
Chao grew up here in Dapu village, but left seeking better prospects in the city of Taipei. He represents a growing number of returnees who now want to move back to their childhood homes after retirement. As a person who's been away from my family home for more than 30 years now, I can understand that connection. Chao takes it one step further by seeing this connection as a form of duty. He is involved with all manner of activities aimed at restoring the village and its traditions, including some of the mundane chores that he used to do with his mother.
离我们最远的地方呢，它会有那个龙螺，然后呢，中间的地方呢会有佛手，砾石跟沙子的中间会有很多沙花壳，或是沙壳，就是贝壳类的。以前早期的时候，妈妈就会来这里，每天都会来这里挖这个，用一根细细的竹子，稍微有点软软的，然后呢，用拨这个石头跟沙子这样拨，然后他们有经验人一拨，哎，就知道这里面有那个花蛤在上面。
Got one here. It's a real holding on for dear life. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. It's big enough. Oh, okay. All right, in there. In she goes. So there's 8 here. It's not enough for a big hot pot yet, though, is it, really? I think I'd starve if I was a beachcomber, actually, but Mr. Tao luckily is on hand to give some technical advice here. Is this normal? It's like, ooh. He's a conservationist. He's concerned. He obviously feels that there's a delicate balance here. You have a lot of pollution, a lot of fishing industry pollution washing up on the shores.
Yeah,
that's not a Taiwanese plastic bottle. No, he feels that, he senses that this is obviously wrong, and I agree, and I feel the same sense that there's not an awful lot we can do about this unless there's a really big move by governments on both sides to actually stop this wanton pollution. But there's no landfill or refuge centre on this island, so all of the stuff has to be gathered up. The mainland Chinese fishing detritus and tourists' paper cups and plastic bags, and taken off by ship to Geelong, where it can be dealt with. Just increasing the amount of pollution because the ship has to come all the way here, all the way back. What can we do about this problem? I don't really see enough evidence that there's actually some serious tackling of this yet. I guess you have to harass the government a little bit back in Taipei to get something done. Look, wonderful. Hero pose. This is this one?
这很好的无花果。
花果。
无花果，然后让你种下去。
Yeah, we're going to plant this.
然后签名。
Mr. Chow just took me to his rather large allotment behind his house, and we together planted a fig tree, and he allowed me, or actually urged me, to sign my name on post that goes in the ground, so I could always come back here and visit my tree. This is a wonderful thing. I love this. I love him for it. He is, I think, we're the chips to fall, and we live in some sort of dystopian future. This island wouldn't be too bad. I think it could survive.
带你的孩子。
Yeah, okay.
太太来这里，
谢谢。I mean, probably it's because he was born here. He still remembers back to the harder times when he was growing up, and he probably has fond memories of those harder times. You know, you always sort of forget the harshness of life because being young is just such a trip in itself. So partly he's come back here because this is what you do when you get older. Also, and this is from today at the beach.
Zhao is not idle in his retirement. He's looking out for a younger generation, one that is now coming to the village for various projects.
When you first came here and you saw this village, what did you think?
My first time came to this village is 2012.
And are you all, like Yonghan, you have all come from Taiwan to live here? Or
not long, like I live here for like three weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
We came here for international
art festival.
Oh.
They are all volunteers.
I see some pieces of art around the village. So you're creating that art?
Yeah. Yeah. We finished our performance last week.
Use local ingredients and like the cooking class.
What else can you find on the
like
island
a
that you
sweet
like
potato or taro, you know, 芋头.
Young people from outside of Matsu have their unique take on what the islands can offer. But what about the teenagers living here? I remember from my 1997 visit that the school kids had an obsession with a certain sport. Rumour has it that there was even a team that played with the CIA who were stationed here. So what happened?
那时候马祖中学刚刚才成立，美军那时候做顾问，他做教练。
1962. And this is a picture of an American serviceman, Matsu kid with a baseball mitt, and a Taiwanese soldier in the U.S. Army. Oh yeah, look at that panoramic shot. Yeah, beautiful. And this is the baseball field. It was here.
那时候很久了。
Chile.
对。
Look more.
这个都篮球，篮球。
It is baseball here.
这一张，这一张。
Yeah, yeah.
51年对本校的首届棒球赛。
Okay, ready? This really is documentary evidence of the two baseball teams. Here we have the scoreboard with the Braves and Yankees written on it, playing a game, and this is Taiwanese year of 51, or ROC year 51, which is 1962. This chap here, who would probably be about 75 years old now, because this was 60 years ago, he was voted the best pitcher of the team. So I just learned that pretty much the reason why there was a decline in baseball was that the guys got roped into the army, they left the island.
What I'm finding out, however, is that there's a new game in town, and it's drawing in the kids.
I hear something behind it. Wow, what have we got here? Like some kind of wrestling club or something. Stumbled upon quite a surprise, I think, here. It's a whole wrestling club. Who would have thought that Matsu had a passion for wrestling? I had no idea. I thought baseball was the national game, but no.
可以放松自己身体，然后再休，这也可以打发自己时间，然后让自己达到某个目标。
在网络上啊，还有一些电影上都有出现过这个东西，对我来说非常有兴趣。
因为这感觉比赛的时候会得名的时候会很光荣。
Okay, I've been in Taiwan for some time. I've never come across wrestling before in Taiwan. But suddenly on Matsu, I see this very active center and community.
角力为什么会在马祖？主要是因为之前有一个我应该要叫师公了，就是那个有个军方的教练，他来这边当兵的时候，然后他来协助马祖这边的训练，然后因此这个契机，角力才传到马祖到这边。
Coach is a cool character. He's a strong young lad who was actually is quite high up in the athletics world and sort of gave it up to come back to Matsu his energy now is more in sort of curating this new generation of wrestlers. And I think he's quite proud of the crowd of kids that he's got under him. He treats them all the same. He knows he's got some that will go on and be champions and others that are probably just doing it to keep fit. But he treats them all the same.
我觉得练脚力的大多的那个组织成员可能比较都是处境比较不利的一些家庭，那他们其实练的时候非常执着，会一直很肯练。其实我们都要练各方面的一些技术，那个体能其实都很累，所以其实我觉得说他们是不怕苦，不怕难，然后对于事情很执着，我觉得这是他们的特性。你就会往哪边走，他就会往哪边。 你这边的空气流的越多。
I think for many of them, it's probably their prime activity. It's their one thing they do outside of the home and school activities that defines them as individuals. After night, there's one bar in Nangang, apparently. A couple of 7-Elevens, they hang out there. But for activities, yeah, I think you need something like wrestling, something constructive to do. And it's a good, I mean, that was a community. You could see the community growing there. They're never going to leave that family.
Talking about never leaving the family, I'm heading back to Bagan Island once more. This time to search for a local icon whose voice symbolized Matsu's unique status as a frontline military base. She has never left her job, even after all these years. Though she is definitely keeping up with the times.
The story with this wonderful lady is that she used to broadcast from this broadcasting station here, which doesn't look like much of a broadcasting station now, I have to say. It's a bunker. And the speakers were positioned to broadcast her station's, you know, her words to mainland China, which is just over there. We worked out that she was working until 1999, so very likely she had been here and broadcasting when I was here in 1997. Where is this place?
这个是早期对大陆广播的一个播音站，马祖北干琴山播音站。双十年华的时候，那这个里面呢就是我们的播音室。这个是我待了20年的地方。
This is your office.
对对对对。
Oh wow.
这个呢现在就是，这个是塑像，但是已经非常的斑驳。 我看了非常的感伤。这个是当初用我的相片去做的。
Subversive sort of element to what you were doing to this. You know, you're trying to lull them and encourage them to come to a nicer place, really.
当初呢，我就是坐在这个地方播音。那会有国语跟闽北语，所谓的闽北语就是闽东语，也就是马祖话。然后在这里跟大家播音。所以其实原则上，我们这样的一个状况是阶段性的任务。所谓阶段性任务，早期就是4人帮的部分，我们可能会用批判打击的部分来做一个播音稿。 到中段再告诉他们我们实际的生活状况，再来就接着报道三民主义是什么样的一个状况，我们为什么会生活在这样的一个状况，是因为我们实行民有、民治、民享的三民主义，因为他们是血浓于水的同胞，我们也希望他们跟我们的生活是一样的整个状况，让他们来一起共同的学习这个政治学台北。 经济学台湾。
Because many could consider that the quality of life has improved more rapidly over in the mainland, and Taiwan has stayed somewhat, especially Matsu, has stayed somewhat in a time warp. So her message could almost be reversed these days, were they to broadcast from China over to Matsu. So I don't think there was any attempt stirring up trouble and seeing China as being the enemy, not from here anyway. Do you feel some sympathy or kinship with the people on the other side, the people you're broadcasting to?
其实，在那样的一个状态，我们最主要除了一个自己的信念之外，我觉得，他们那边真的是一穷二白，所以我觉得我这样播给他们，有一颗怜悯的心。 因为我们生活在这么富裕的状态，真的非常希望他们跟我们共同一样去实行三民主义，所以在播音的时候，特别会让自己能够注入一个感情，使他们能够听得到，除了听到音乐，也听到我们的一个轻声。
Yeah, just looking. The sleeping quarters was down here. Oh, so the broadcasting centre, the military requested that we didn't film some parts of the station that were in disrepair, but the parts we did get to see could easily be turned into, I think, house a sort of a guest house with a theme for music festivals, perhaps. That would. Broadcasting centre is placed on a promontory at the closest point to mainland China, and you can, on a clear day, you can see mainland very close. Although now many trees are growing up. Great, number one. Final question: How did you used to open your radio show?
哦，其实我印象中就是那。 播音的时候呢，因为距离非常的远，所以我不会这样跟 Chris 你讲话的方式来播音，而那个距离是要拉得远，就是我们播放的那个讲话的速度一定要非常的慢，要不然那边是听不到，是混杂的。那我来试咯，我可能会试一段的国语，一小段的福州话。亲爱的。 大陆同胞们，由于喜恨三民作孽，民有民得，民算的下回，所以大家都。 生活在富裕、安康、自由的生活中。
It does seem ridiculous that you can see, and we did see through the fog and the mist. China coastline quite clearly there, you know, from Fuzhou, so you could almost reach out and touch it. And okay, I heard that fishermen do occasionally go across to the other side, maybe more than occasionally, on the various trips, nefarious trips of smuggling or taking passengers across to see their family. But these are unofficial. Officially, no, there's no connection between these two sides. It does seem absurd when you're here and you see the reality of it. I've observed that in many countries and war zones around the world.
From what I see, things will continue to change. As it is, a new generation is already reinterpreting the legacy of Matsu, shedding new light on the secrets hidden within these islands. And in another 25 years, what they do now will transform the very facade of this former frontline community.
We're looking at some sort of impromptu performance that's being set up here. I see some synthesizers. Did not expect this in an old mansion.
Opera Music Club.
From which university are you from?
National Taiwan University.
Oh, the one in Taipei?
No,
so,
Keelung.
Oh, Keelung. Oh, the ocean one. Oh,
yeah,
so you've come. Oh, right. So you came on the ferry from Keelung to Matsu?
Yeah.
For 1 year.
You're living here? 1 year. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. This is what it's all about, isn't it? Putting new meaning into an old building, and also, sorry, this is a good shot here. Also, finding that the acoustics qualities of this old building is actually very, very, very good. This is a perfect match, really. Yeah, I wish I could stay for the performance.